and welcome to part 7 of our series, Compassionate Dialogue 101, Quick Conversation Tips for Problem Solving and Healthy Conflict Resolution. In this series, each month, I take around 5 minutes to talk through a cornerstone of compassionate dialogue, and I always leave you with a resource or something to think about to move forward. Yes, 5 minutes can really change how you communicate. If you missed parts 1 through 6, I encourage you to go back and visit those videos. Particularly for today, you'll want to pay special attention to part 1, which teaches you how to recognize your feelings. Recognize is the first step in the RIR protocol, which is how we put compassionate dialogue into action. After you do the inner work of recognizing, the next step in the RIR protocol is to interrupt. What is this and why is it important? Imagine that you hear a comment that triggers you. After taking the time to recognize, again, don't forget to check out that video, it's time to interrupt. For our purposes, that doesn't mean the verbal, reactionary, often hostile interjection you may be calling to mind. In fact, rather than being reactionary and hostile, interruption with the RIR protocol is intentional and compassionate by design. Just because it's intentional and compassionate, though, doesn't mean it's easy. There are many reasons that as humans, we don't interrupt when our gut tells us we should. Maybe we're afraid to be seen as difficult or fear retaliation. Maybe we don't think we're the right person to say something, or we struggle to think of what to say in the first place. Maybe we're so fatigued from interrupting or from the guilt of not interrupting in the past that the idea of doing it even one more time feels utterly exhausting. Those are all very valid and human emotions. They're also potential roadblocks. To help overcome them, focus on your why for interrupting. In compassionate dialogue, the interrupt is born of curiosity and has very clear, focused objectives. We are not trying to change someone's mind, prove we're right, or silence others. Instead, we interrupt to build trust, deepen empathy, and set boundaries and expectations. So let's get into how it works. To interrupt, you might clarify meaning by saying something like, "Tell me more about that. I want to understand." Or, "Have you come to think of that? How did you come to think of that?" Another one is to offer another perspective by saying something like, "I've actually had a different experience," or "I think that's a stereotype," or "I've learned about that, but differently." Another way to interrupt is to address the impact by saying something like, "What you said felt triggering to me. Can we talk more about it?" Or, "How would you feel if someone said that to you?" So let's draw a card from our conversation starter deck and practice the protocol. And I can show you an example. So these are our cards, and I I've just picked one, and it's kind of funny that I picked the one I did, because there's 500 in here, and you literally can just pick a card. But the one I got today was this one, and it says, "I don't think of you as black." um, okay, so what do I do? What do I feel? Let's go to recognize first. So when I hear this, there's actually a lot of things. You can see by my first reaction, just even here, was a little bit of a chuckle. And the chuckle isn't necessarily that I think it's funny. The chuckle is more like, here we go again, right? It's that kind of humor disguising fatigue, right? And so, but when I get to really how I feel about it, it is there's this tiredness, this exhaustion, this sadness, um, all kind of stemming back to like, here we go again kind of thing. So I've got my recognize. I know what I'm feeling, and so how I might interrupt this is simply by asking, if you don't think of me as black, what do you think of me as? Right? And it's truly curious because I want to know what made them say that, because I do believe that a lot of these statements in one way or another are attempting to be a compliment or a statement of support, but where they're stemming from is a place of deficit belief about who I am as a Black person. And so if you don't think of me as Black, that means that you have a belief about what it means to be Black, and I don't fit that. Instead of me being a part of a very expansive diaspora, right? So, um, that would be my question would be, if you don't see me as Black, what do you see me as? And I'm really sincerely hopeful that the person who would ask me this would tell me what they think. And I think that leads to a conversation, right? Because again, I'm not angry. There's no anger when I hear this. It really is more sadness. And there is a desire to get to the bottom so that I can educate about why this, while maybe intentionally meaning to be, you know, a compliment or whatever, can be harmful and help instead of helpful. So that is the interrupt. It's really simple. And I what I'd like to share is that when it comes to the interrupt piece, you really want to just, what is the question you want the answer to, right? Don't ask a question that you don't want answered, because that just leads to more frustration. I really want to know, what does it mean to you that you don't see me as Black? And then we can go from there. So, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I know there's so much more to learn about interrupting, and you can find more information by downloading the free RIR protocol worksheet. The link is in the description. But in the meantime, I hope this inspires you to try and gives you a few quick question statements to have ready so that when it does happen, you can actually have an interruption that is based in compassion that leads to more conversation and not shutting it down. Because it's only when we acknowledge that there is room for us to do and be better that we actually take steps in that direction. And that's why we're here in the first place, right? To move forward. So stay tuned for more free insights and tools to help you deepen your communication skills. And as always, thank you for being here and for supporting the work that we all do together.